on food, then you're having to buy less nutritious food. This is a worry to us, of course, because it affects the nutrition of every household. But equally, you may not be spending as much on your medical necessities or on perhaps schooling and so on. And this is a matter of great concern, clearly. So what do organisations like the World Food Programme and others, I mean, what can you actually do in these circumstances? Is there anything you can do? Well, we're basically lobbying the G20 to make sure that food is high on the agenda when they meet in November. And we want people to establish that there are some solutions which we can put before them. For instance, the World Bank has suggested that maybe the World Food Programme could be organising some of the food reserves around the countries. I mean, we should have certainly access to food stocks and be able to pre-position and buy ahead of times before the prices really go up and we can't buy as much as we would have wanted to in order to fulfil our needs, basically. I mean, we hope to feed something like 90 million people. Yeah, so where's the biggest area of concern? I mean, where would you need to put the largest part of your effort? Well, right now, clearly, it's in the Middle East, and although this is not normally an area that we have much activity in, most of our activities are in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia and, of course, Latin America. But clearly, we're keeping a close eye on the food situation right inside Libya, because, of course, it's a 90% food import-dependent country. Caroline Herford, thank you very much indeed for giving us that perspective there from the World Food Programme. Tensions continue to escalate in Côte d'Ivoire. The security forces have shot dead at least 6 women in Abidjan during a protest in support of Alassane Ouattara, the man widely considered to have won November's election. And the UN says 200,000 people have fled the suburb of Abobo as forces loyal to the incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo also take to the streets. Al Jazeera's Imran Khan has the story.
Finally, a chance to smile and to sing for some. This is St. Ambroise Church, Abidjan. But instead of spiritual healing, it's medical healing in this makeshift refugee camp. Thousands have fled the fighting between supporters of the man the West recognises as Côte d'Ivoire's leader, Alassane Ouattara, and Laurent Gbagbo, who is clinging to power despite international condemnation. They arrive here dishevelled, tired, and in desperate need of care.
We have 2 types of people, those who only stay for a day and those that stay longer. We try and help them move to safer places.
And with homelessness comes the threat of disease. The International Red Cross fears that the longer this goes on, the higher the chance of disease spreading.
The most urgent needs that we are talking about are linked to health. The need for medicines is also linked to hygiene, which is also linked to the need for shelter.
Most of the fighting, which some fear could spread to civil war, has been in the Ouattara stronghold of Abobo. The sound of constant gunfire and fighting is now a distant memory for the ones that have made it here. For these men and women of God, helping the few that they can is all they can do.
We tell them they can always use this area for their children. We can't abandon them. That's why we come here, so we can protect them and their children.
The refugees here escaped with only what they could carry, and they've got no idea when they can go back or what they will go back to. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera.
In northwest Iraq, at least 9 people have been killed by a suicide bomber. Police say the bomber was targeting Iraqi soldiers collecting their paychecks at a bank in the town of Haditha. And at least 9 people have been killed in a suicide attack at a police station in northwestern Pakistan. Officials say a lorry carrying explosives rammed into a security checkpoint in the town of Hangu. Around 30 others were wounded. Meanwhile, a court in Lahore has ruled that a CIA contractor accused of murder will not enjoy diplomatic immunity. Raymond Davis claims he acted in self-defence when he shot at the 2 Pakistani men. His detention has strained relations between the US and Pakistan. Our correspondent Kamal Haider has been following the case from Islamabad.
Davis was said to have been, on the day of the incident, Davis is said to have been riding in a private car. It was not registered in the name of the embassy, at which point he says somebody tried to rob him. The Pakistanis, of course, saying that the circumstances were very different, that the people never pulled out the gun. That, of course, is the police reports. But there were a lot of witnesses. This happened in a very busy area of Lahore, and therefore the public outcry became a real problem for the government, because on the one hand it was the relationship with the United States, on the other hand it was the backlash from the public. So the Raymond Davis case has, of course, received a lot of attention, a media hype. But it's very difficult for the government to maneuver when it comes to this complicated issue.
Kamal Haider reporting there. Now let's return to Côte d'Ivoire and the tension there. We can get more from our correspondent Yvonne Ndege, who's been following developments from Nigeria. So Yvonne, these reports that security forces have shot dead 6 women. Have you got any more information about that incident?
Well, Lauren, it's really difficult to establish the truth of what's going on the ground in Abidjan, because the eyewitnesses who say that 6 people were killed are, of course, supporters of Alassane Ouattara, the internationally recognized winner of November's poll. And there is a feeling that, of course, they are deeply concerned about the ongoing crisis, and the police and authorities say they are therefore exaggerating the incidences of violence. Now, the police and security services in general do admit that some people were killed. However, they won't say how many, and this is just another sign of the ongoing security situation, or the disintegration of security in this particular neighborhood. It's called Abogo. As I say, it's a stronghold of Alassane Ouattara. It's in Abidjan. Now, there were some reports about clashes between supporters. Another really important thing that our audiences have to understand is that since the poll that took place at the end of November last, there haven't been clashes between supporters. The clashes have always been between supporters of Alassane Ouattara and security forces who are loyal to Laurent Gbagbo. They say that they're just holding up security and maintaining law and order. But of course, as I say, the security situation is getting worse. Diplomatic efforts seem to be dead in the water. At the end of last month, 5 presidents from Africa were supposed to come up with a solution to the problem. They've now kicked that into the long grass and have said basically that we have to wait another month for them to come up with a solution. And basically the African Union is divided about what to do. My analysis is, and has always been, that Ivorians are going to sort this crisis out themselves peacefully or violently. And it seems, with everything that's been going on in the last couple of days, it looks like this is going to be sorted out violently, I'm afraid.
OK, Yvonne, thank you very much indeed for that update there. Now, a German security official is claiming that the man accused of shooting dead 2 US soldiers outside Frankfurt Airport on Wednesday has confessed to targeting Americans. Let's go straight back to Stephen Cole in London for more on that. Stephen?
Thanks, Lauren. The men were killed when an armed man boarded a bus carrying US soldiers to one of the airport's terminals and then opened fire. Prosecutors say they're looking into what sparked the attack. From Frankfurt, AlJazeera's Nick Spicer reports.
The policemen are wary, but the airport looks back to normal. Only the newspapers on sale tell of what happened. Shots, screams, 2 dead, says the headline. The military personnel were shot dead here on Wednesday at Frankfurt Airport's Terminal 2 aboard a shuttle bus. A 21-year-old man of Kosovan origin was immediately arrested. He's thought to have lived here with his father, and family describes him as a devout